Okay. So we missed a couple pieces, but really, really interesting. I've got a great recording on how he does it on the training, but he'll call up people and he'll say, look, for me to blow up my business, I need to be around people like you. I need your help. I want to take you for a cup of coffee. It's pretty much that simple. 5826. Okay. So really, I have some really good stuff from him. Phil Puma, let me get you, Mike. Okay, this is the only picture of Mike. So Mike and I were drinking by the pool. He really looks that good. It's very irritating. He's in Reno. He's down to 20 transactions per month, but Mike came up with this idea of we don't have an inventory problem, we have a market share problem. And so he's an agent, but he talks to people about controlling your market share. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then my favorite of all these guys is Phil Puma. And the reason why I'm sharing you this stuff, and their numbers are really, really gaudy, and they'll all say the same thing. They're saying, we don't share these numbers to impress you. We do it to impress upon you that it's possible. And you hang out with Phil. Phil was a door-to-door salesman selling copiers. And then he was a lender doing like leads. And he said, you know what? I'm tired of real estate agents when I get a lead for a refi, putting their lender in. So he became a realtor. The guy is super involved in his community. He coaches, different. I mean, the guy works 35 hours a week and he kills it. And that picture is exactly him. He's like a nice young kid, right? Super nice. But he also has some fantastic ideas. So if you were to meet these guys and they were to tell you the stuff that I'm about to tell you, you would want to implement it even more. So I'm trying to be those guys. So what we're going to talk about today is this idea of acquisition, retention, and conversion. And one of the items that's come across here is when there's less deals out there, we need to really think about not just acquisition, but what are you doing to retain? And now when we're talking about conversion, I know a lot of you probably close 60 or 70, 80% of your listing presentations. This is not what I'm talking about. We're talking about retention and conversion, about people that are in your system, that are leads, that were on drips, that maybe wanted to sell. A lot of those people, you're not doing enough. All of us are not doing enough to keep them, right? And so if anybody buys something at White House or Macy's or whatever, what are you going to get immediately? You're going to get all these emails, but you're also going to get a big glossy catalog in the mail, which costs a lot of money, right? And the reason why they do that is because they know to retain you is less expensive than it is to acquire you. So as real estate agents, how much does it cost for you to acquire each lead in each transaction? And because our commissions are so big, why don't we spend more time nurturing those? We're going to talk about impactful conversations. Please, let me go back. Please do not gloss over this. Mike Wood told me this. He said, if there's one thing you take out of this class, it's this idea about impactful conversations. And the guys that make the most money on the real estate side and the lending side are really good at going deep and having impactful conversations. So it's going to sound silly. It's that whole nobody cares how much you know until they know you care, right? We're going to talk about a wow process. We're going to talk about getting more referrals during the process. It's called a CCNR, current client referrals. We're going to talk about doing better, getting referrals from your past clients. And I know a lot of, Daryl and Delinda and Linda are highly, referral-based business, right? But you could get more, right? And you get them because you guys are really good at what you're doing. What if you had a design process to get more referrals, right? And then we're going to talk about generating more leads from a VIP, a center of influence. All right, make sense? Everybody good? So I've got to keep you guys over on this side so I can see my screens here. So let me actually shift this to there we go. Now I can see. Okay, cool. So let's get right into it. So impactful conversations. So the first issue is, where do you find impactful conversations? And the way this next tactic came up, this is the one that Mike Woods, that guy that makes a lot of money as a real estate agent, said, do this. And I'm going to do this myself. And there's a reason why I haven't started yet, and I'll show you. But an agent in his office came up to him and said, look, I want to door drop these apartment complexes. And he's like, it's not a bad idea. It's a pretty good idea. Some of them might buy, that, there might be a long gestation period and all that. And he said, why don't you pick up your phone? So everybody, if you got your phone in front of you, pick up your phone, go to your contacts, right? And scroll down to the bottom of your contacts and tell me how many contacts you have in your phone. 2, 3, 4,000, right? Possibly. So those are your people that you can start to have impactful conversations. So scroll down your phone, see how many contacts. Probably 20% of them are people you don't like, right? And here's the part, this is work. But he said, if you have another 4 or 5 hours a week to prospect, right? This
Like
is what he
Bobby said,
does. He says,
5
reconnect.
contacts. I only have 5 people in mine.
What's that? Somebody's on, oops, someone's got to mute there. So you got to reconnect with them. You got to do it at a deep level and you got to stay connected. So I'm going to show you how this works. And I was going to do this myself, prepare a spreadsheet, break it up into the categories, and then put it up here and said, guys, I'm doing it, you should do it. And the only reason why I didn't is because I found out there's something wonky with my phone. I've got 20,000 contacts. I can't export them. It blew up my database and my bomb, and so I've got to go in and figure this out. That's the only reason why I haven't done this yet, but I am going to do it. So for all of you, export the contacts. There's a couple of systems out there to turn it into a CSV file. Export them. If you want me to manipulate the Excel into categories, I will, right? But this is something that he talked about. Now, some of you guys, anybody here scared to call people you can talk to in 5 years, 10 years? Anybody scared? Yeah. So what he was saying is, first of all, get over it, right? But you have to have a way to approach them. And so the simplest one, and the guys love this, it's the apology call. It sounds like this. Hey, Hans, it's Juan, over at ABC Realty. I have been a terrible friend. I have not called you in 10 years. We used to hang out. We were on that bowling team. We had a great team. It was really a fantastic time. I am so sorry. I wanted to reconnect. Please give me a call when you get a second. That's it, right? I think we all have in this head, some of us might be that they're like, oh, they're knowing we're calling, that we're a real estate agent. Well, a lot of those people in your phone don't even know what you do, right? There's gonna be some people in there that probably don't know you're a real estate agent. They know you from something else. So give them a call, reach out to them. And when they pick up, start simple conversations. What are you struggling with? How did you manage COVID, right? And then start to ask some questions. How is work going, right? How are the kids, right? And then if someone says, how's work going? This is really important about getting deep. Let's say somebody says to you, hey, I just switched jobs. Great. What are you doing? I moved into a physical therapy position. Really? What were you doing before that? I was a bartender. Man, what made you get into that line of work? Oh, I love working with people and this and that or whatever. What do you like about it? So we all talk about the fact that we have rapport with our clients, right? But how many of us, I don't get this deep with most people, but how many of us have those conversations with those great clients, those great spheres of influence, and ask questions like that? How's your wife? How's your kid? Oh, the kids just moved to private school? Which private school? You moved into Bishop and Gorman. What was your main decision for that? What do you like about it, right? It's getting into situations where it does a couple of things. Number one, when you call, you don't have to worry about the fact that they think you're calling just to sell real estate. By the way, they know you sell real estate, right? I have a buddy of mine, he's supposed to be on the call, a really good friend, who doesn't want to be a pushy real estate agent. The guy's name is Mike. If he comes on, Mike couldn't be a pushy real estate agent if he tried, right? And I give a really good example. If a plumber calls you or a plumber's in your house, what are you going to tell them? Get away from your toilet? You know what the plumber's there for. You're a real estate agent. People know you're trying to feed your family and you're trying to put a roof over your head, right? And if they have an issue with you from time to time bringing up real estate, well, then they're not good clients anyway. But it's important for you to show that you care. So think about what you want to say. Now, I know, for example, Delinda's on this call. I can't see her because I've got everybody in the bottom. But I know Delinda's got some really, really good systems, right? And maybe she does this. And Delinda, if you want to bring this up, but do you ever ask questions that get that deep, right? You feel that you spend that amount of time with people?
Oh, like when I'm talking to people, I try to keep the conversation about them and what's going on in their lives. And like you said, inevitably at some point they're going to ask about how's the market, and then because you don't have to bring it up, they'll just give you the opportunity.
Correct. But and you don't have, I would say here, and I know you do Delinda runs a great business, but could you say you could get deeper with some people and ask that next question?
Probably, I think any of us could anytime.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the what made you get into that line of work and what do you like about it. I really
Yeah.
like
And
that. I wrote that down.
And the guys that are best at this, I mean, right? They're magicians. There was a guy, this was on the lending side, but I wanted to share this. It's probably another part of the presentation, but there'll be a lot of times where someone comes in, you pull their credit and they have amazing credit. So what do we do as a lender? Hey, you got great credit. We make a big deal of it. Fantastic. I wish you could talk to the rest of my clients who all have crappy credit, right? But taking it the next level is to say, who taught you about credit? Well, my dad taught me about credit. Really? Do me a favor. Are you in front of your computer? Yeah. Can you open up an email right now and type to your dad and thank him for teaching you about credit? He put you on his credit card 10 years ago. You have this amazing credit. Can you send him an email right now and let him know that I'm going to be able to get you better terms? You can put less money down and your closing costs will be better because of the fact that he taught you about credit. Can you do that for me right now? Now, what does that do? Does that make the kid feel good? Yeah. Does that make the dad feel good? Yeah. What if the dad talks to the kid and says, hey, you're working with Delinda Crampton, right? I got a better real estate agent than Delinda. Forget about Delinda, right? What if he gets an email from the son saying, hey, I'm talking to my lender and he wanted me to let you know, thank you so much. Could the father now be part of the sphere of influence, right? Is it possible I won't get fired that Delinda? I don't know about you guys. Have you ever had a situation where you have a younger buyer and the parents call and you're like, oh my God, are they going to try to impose themselves, right? But even if that's not the case, you made the dad feel great, right? You made the kid feel great and you potentially create another connection. Is it really that hard to do that? No. And so there's going to be places during the real estate process that I don't even know where you're going to have the opportunity to say, hey, how did you learn about that, right? You're showing them the house. How did you learn that the breaker's on the outside of the box? I know nothing about stuff, right? Who taught you about, how hooking up a gas stove works, whatever, right? There's just all these opportunities for you to ask those next questions, right? Why do we want to do that? Well, if it's a listing side, you don't want them to grind your commission. If it's a buyer side, we want more referrals, right? So really thoughtful conversations. Let's see if I have any other. All right. So I'm going to stop there for a second. I know there's no blinding things of the obvious here. I want to make sure you get it. I think I'm going to get to a couple of tactics here that I find to be just totally spectacular. But when you're talking about retention, what we're really talking about is a wow process. And at the core, during this slowdown, the lenders and the realtors both looked at their books of business. The lenders went back and said, of all the pre-approvals that I got, what percentage that didn't close ended up going with another lender? And everyone's saying to themselves, I'm the greatest lender. I'm making all this money. They found out a lot of people ended up cheating on them. Some of them you couldn't prevent it. And the same thing with the agents. The agents went back and said, who are the people in the process? Maybe they were pre-approved. Maybe they were on an MLS drip. Who are the people that were in your system that you acquired? You had a meeting with them. They were potentially a real buyer and they ended up buying with somebody else, right? It's a hard metric to find out, but they looked into it and a lot more people fell out than you might think. And so you must think like retention, how important it is, right? Acquisition, they're in the system. The good leads that are on the searches that you've shown houses to, what can you do to continually blow their mind, right? So I can send this to you, but this was the steps to wowing your clients for agents. And there's a whole bunch here. But there's one that I shared with a couple of people, which sounds very simple, but is a mandatory for everybody in the core. And so you're at a listing presentation, they sign on the dotted line and you're leaving. You have the listing, right? You won, right? But as you're in the driveway, you make a phone call and you call them up and you say, hey, Tom, this is Jared over at ABC Realty. I just wanted to thank you. I know that you have a lot of options in real estate agents. I know you'd already talked to 3 agents. Thank you for choosing us. We're going to do a really, really great job. So why do you do that? Well, because what people have found out in this is that everybody has buyer's remorse. If you buy a car, even if it's your favorite car, you might have buyer's remorse. Oh, I should have bought the Lexus instead of the Mercedes. You buy a diamond. I should have bought the one that was a little bit bigger, but wasn't quite as nice in a color, right? It doesn't matter. It's not about you. Buyer's remorse is with everybody. So if you make that call at that moment, you help to alleviate that buyer's remorse, and it starts you on a pathway with them to wow them and provide them with fantastic service. It's little steps. Everybody can make that phone call, right? So I will send this to anybody who wants it. There's a ton of stuff in here, right? But I'm going to show you something else on the WOW process. So I've shown a lot of agents this, and I know many of you have some similar process. It's called the All About You form. The realtors use this differently than the lenders, and I got coached on this because how I use it a little bit different. And so on the WOW process, I want you to take a look at this. You get name, birthdays, kids' names, all that stuff, restaurant, dessert, snack. Why would I want to know their favorite snack? Let me think about that. What's their favorite cocktail? What's their favorite coffee? So the reason why you do this is, let's say that they're coming in for a buyer's consultation and you know their favorite snack is Skittles. And when they come in, there's a bowl of Skittles sitting on the desk. Wow. Right? Would that be cool? Would that person feel catered to? Are they going to talk to Delinda and then Jared and then JC and then Radislav and then Melissa? Or when they go into Delinda and Delinda paid $2 for a bag of Skittles, they're sitting there with a candy. And let's say their favorite snack is their favorite coffee is a Starbucks for whatever it is, right? Does that just start the process in such a spectacular fashion? Like, really, that's amazing. The other thing that they had been using, the original use for this is a newer implementation, was you're out showing houses. Who can I pick on now? Melissa, you're out showing houses. You have this information and they're like, hey, you need a break, you're hungry, you're thirsty, and you reach into your bag there and you have their Skittles and their ice cold coffee, right? So you don't have to take a break. Do they feel catered to, right? When you go to the inspection, if you go to the inspection, right? Bring snacks to the inspection, feed people. There's a reason why people love food. It makes them happy, right? I have a snack addiction. You give me an Oreo cookie, I'll love you. End of story. You'll be my favorite person forever. Attach that to them. Is it cheating a little bit? I don't know, but it is what it is. It makes a lot of sense, right? And you can ask them questions if they don't fill this out. Hey, I got some off the wall questions for you. What's your go-to cocktail? If you're driving to work, are you going to D&D or Starbucks, right? Which one are you doing, right? What are your go-to snacks? When you close on the house, where's the celebration dinner going to be, right? And are you cracking a bottle of bubbly? You are, but it's non-alcoholic bubbly. Great to know, right? So you can start to fill out this information and start to really show them the care. If you really cared about them, you get them, their favorite champagne, or right. It would show them that you were paying attention, right? I think people are asking me chat questions. Yes, I always bring water and snacks on every showing. Melissa, awesome, right? So I'm not saying people aren't doing this, right? Don't get me wrong. But let me ask you this, Melissa, are you bringing them their specific personalized snack? You can. Okay. So you can see over here, I got all my snacks that people can come in to eat, right? But they're not personalized. Good, great job, Melissa. Don't be like, I'm never going to talk to that lender, silly lender. But how much, and okay, I like that. It's still good, Daryl. Don't get mad. Come on. So, but if it's personalized, it just shows that simple level. Is this hard stuff? No. You got to do it every time, or try to do it every time. So let me move this along. All right. So here's some of the WOW process stuff that I am committing to. I'm going to have a welcome sign with their names. Anyone else do a welcome sign? Belinda, I was sure you do a welcome sign. Welcome sign with their name.
I used to, and then I just got out of the habit.
All right. So Delinda does, good business, right? So and she's got really great systems. She's freakishly organized. I got to figure that out. Have that candy or snack that's personal to them on the desk, right? Have a food menu. I'm going to have I've got a whole bunch of food over there, but no food money. I'm going to have more kid toys and stuff for kids. And then for you guys, have their favorite snacks or drinks in your car and bring them something to inspection. Melissa, you got a $5 Starbucks card because you already did that. Hang on, Parker. I was supposed to be giving out some money already, but I'm trying to making sure I hit my time on this stuff. So there is 100 million ways, maybe not 100. There's so many ways for you to add little items to it. And invariably, the guys that do this the best, there's a name for it, it's not gifters, it's the over caterers that end up just killing it, because they don't just become referral sources. They will be looking for it. It's not like, hey, do you know a good agent? Oh yeah, I know JC Johnson, right? No, it's different. There'll be people that'll be like, hey, here's JC Johnson's card. You get advocates for you. Okay. So I'm going to stop there. Uh, see if there's any questions, right? On that. But there's a couple of really great nuggets there. So next thing I want to talk about are current client referrals. This is leads that you get during the process. So does anybody here market hard to people that are in the process but not yet clients? Like hard. Why not? Right? So what the agents are doing, agents send out what's called an LOTH, letter of the heart, right? I got one today from one of the agents at the course saying, look, it's a soft, fuzzy thing. Hey, my daughter went off to school. I'm so sad. Or, something about failure. So it's that left brain stuff. You send out an evidence of success. You send videos. You send birthday cards. So if you have somebody in the process and you've been working on it for a month and it's their birthday, why wouldn't you call them on their birthday and send them a present during the process? It's a good idea, right? Because guess what? People that are in the process tend to attract people that are also in the process. Okay. The conversion rate on CCNRs for the top guys is 61%. 61, because when you are chatting with someone and showing them houses, hey, who else do you know? And you can get that referral, they're just more likely to be in that space. High conversion, they don't shop, they don't grind you. And what they found out is 80% of these referrals happen before they are in contract. Right? So you might have somebody that's pre-approved and they're waiting, maybe their job starts, or maybe you've been showing them houses, whatever it might be. But with this longer buying process, you have more opportunities to get referrals from them. There's a buyer life cycle on that, right? And so during that process, you can spend a little money and do a little bit of gifting, right? Little dollar amounts. Now, I'm not talking about every lead that comes in through the door. The best guy on the lending side that does it is if someone sends in an all about you form, he sends them a $25 personalized gift, right? And he doesn't worry or not if they end up being pre-approved because it's a small amount of money. He does it no matter what, because if you did it only for pre-approved people, then it doesn't have the same value, okay? And so again, think about it. As soon as you've got those clients in the system, start marketing them like they are clients. So we already talked about this. When you fill out the all about you form, send a personal gift. So here's an example of current client referral. Again, somebody who's really good at it. So this is at the end of the transaction. Did we do a great job? What could we have done to do better? Right? Most of the time they're going to say, oh, you did a great job. We want to work with more people like you. Can you commit to introducing me to 2 people in the next 60 days? Right? Some people say yes, some people say no. Let's say they do say yes and they have somebody. Does anybody here train people how to get the referrals back? Anybody actually train them? I know Delinda does, and I know Daryl does, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Constantly.
You got to train them. So this guy is really good at this. So he is the world's greatest at scripts. Awesome. That sounds great. Do you think he or she would be offended if you were to introduce me and I then could politely follow up with them? Brilliant, right? So then you send him an email. Hey, hey, JC, I'm super excited to meet Tom. Here's my info. If you want to connect us, that would be fantastic. I'm so excited to have a conversation with them, right? Send them the email. And so why put this? Why would you like fries? Supersize it. Because why does every time you order something at McDonald's, they say you want fries, you want to supersize it, right? Because if you just get 1 out of 10 times or 2 out of 10 times, McDonald's stock goes up. If they never get it, they're going to lose money. Did you know McDonald's makes no money on burgers? They only make money on the fries and on the drinks. So if they don't get enough drinks, they're going to go out of business, right? So huge. I'll give you another example of why this is so important. So this guy that created this language, he did a study on this. If you say to people, please fill out the online questionnaire before our meeting, he got a 63% higher than if you say it's an application. Sounds silly, right? Application is scary. Questionnaire is soft and fuzzy. So this is the art of being an amazing salesperson. And when it comes to current client referrals, this works, right? So to me, this is my goal. Want to know why? Because if I am the world's best at current client referrals, I get to send business back to my agents and I will be their lender for life. I mean, if I got enough business back to agents, right, I could shoot you in the leg. If I send you enough referrals from the system, it's got to start with you because no one ever says, hey, you know, got a good real estate agent, right? So that is one of my goals, to be amazing at this and to also train you guys to be even better, except for Delinda, because she's already too good at it. So I'm going to pick on you, Delinda, because you're so systematic. It's actually frustrating. I want to be more like you. And there's a lot of reasons why I want to be like, okay. So that's current client referrals. So let's talk about past client referrals, right? You know, I know people say I heart referrals or I dis referrals or whatever. So one of the things that I do with past referrals is I send them a thank you card. I call them up, but I also explain really deeply how important it is. So these guys referred me. Here, this is them. I am now working with my 4th, 5th, and 6th clients that all started with you. Orison, they sent me Orison, who referred me Aparicio, who referred me Fredsty, who referred me Baker. Closed deal, closing as soon as we get the water inspection report back in Reno, pre-approved. And the agent in Reno has now sent me 2 clients because I've done a really good job, right? So I now have a potential agent, really good agent in Reno because of them. And so I sent this to them and I also left them a message and called them up. And so I'll call my clients and I'll say, I want to let you know how impactful this is. All these deals came from you and it changes the trajectory of my business. Now my wife can afford those dance lessons, right? So thank you, you're keeping me married, right? But they want to know you're successful. I wouldn't say to them, thank you, I made $45,000 off of your referrals. That might be too much, but they love to hear about that success. So I now call everybody in the chain of a referral. So now, does anybody else do that? I just started doing that. So I don't just go one deep. I go all the way back up the referral chain. Anybody do that? Tell me that's not a good idea. It is a good idea. Delinda's right, because now you're getting back to that entire chain, right? And the farther you are up, you're like, you changed my life, right? All right, that's a good idea. I don't care what the rest of you think. That's a good idea. So I'm saying it's a good idea. All right, another example. So I chatted with another guy. Guy's name is Delgadillo. He gets tons of referrals all the time. And I said, how do you do it? He goes, well, this is what I do. He role played, and I saw this, and this is what his role play sounds like. He calls through and says, "Hey, John, it's Alfonso. Did we do a good job for you? Yeah, yeah. You sure? Is there anything we could have changed? We could have done better? No, you are amazing. You did a fantastic job. Listen, you know, I turned you into a raving fan. I know that, and all this stuff. I need you to help me find a couple people I can talk to about loans or real estate in the next couple of days. The script can be switched back and forth, right?" And the person says, "Oh, there's no one I can think of right now." And this is what Alfonso does. He goes, "Really? What are you got no friends? You got no colleagues? Are you a single kid? No family? Come on, dude. Really? Don't play me that way." And he went through it, and the script played out. I saw this. Again, when you see these people in person, like I can do it, like it's different. And I came up to him and I was like, "Dude, I'm scared. Does anybody ever get mad?" He goes, "Not once." He's like, "If you take it too seriously, if you're like, oh, don't play me like that. But if you deliver it like it's fun, right? And you've already said, hey, you did a great job. You know, Daryl, you did a great job. Amazing, right? They've already told you that, right? And so I said, crap, I'm going to try it. I totally wussed out on it for a while. And so I picked a bunch of refi clients because if it didn't go well, I wouldn't blow a deal with an agent, right? Because I'm like, oh, they're going to call the agent and tell them I was too pushy. So I called up a bunch of guys and a guy picked up. The guy's name is Michael Torlisa, closed a refi a few months ago. He has not called me back once. He did my follow-up calls. Did you homestead the house? Can I help you? Did you get the first payment? Blah, blah. He's like ghosting me, right? So he picks up this one time. And I'm like, dude, I wasn't expecting you to call me. He's like, listen, I've been getting your calls. I'm so sorry. I watch your videos. They're awesome. But I work at home. We have a new baby. We have no babysitter. I'm so sorry. So I went through, you know, did I do a good job? All that great. So I was thinking, oh, the guy doesn't like me, right? No, he had something else happen. So I did that to him. Hey, Michael, I did a great job for you. Yeah. Went through this. I was like a little scared, honestly, right? And I said, anybody you know? And he said, no. And I'm like, come on, dude, you know, you don't have a brother, you don't have this, that, whatever. And I went through that. And he said no, and I pulled back. I didn't leave that uncomfortable silence. I'm like, hey man, you know I love you, and I'd like to work with people like that. And then he goes, wait a minute, I got a cousin. He's in Korea, he's in the military, and he's moving back here. I go, great. So I sent this to him. This is a couple weeks, whatever, 3 weeks ago. I sent a video. See video above, summary for your cousin. So I basically said, hey, Michael, tell your cousin if he's coming out of the military and he's ETSing out, this is what he needs to do, blah, blah, blah. August, September timeframe, make sure he calls me. Don't hear anything for a little bit. Yesterday morning at 5:31 a.m., hi, I'm Michael's cousin. We currently live in South Korea. I just watched the video you sent to my cousin. I want to email you directly to schedule time, blah, blah, you can all read, right? That is not, he's not calling to shop me, right? This guy wants to work with me, right? We all know the difference. And my BombBomb subscription is coming due in 2 days, right? So I know I've made money off of having BombBomb, but there it is. I just made money from BombBomb, right? So I go, great. So I called Michael, told him, thank you so much. So I went back to my database system and I said, where did I get Michael from? Michael came from Kirby. Kirby came from Cheeto. Cheeto came from Mike Ray. Mike Ray was supposed to be on this. I was going to give him a hard time about this. Mike, you're not there, are you? Oh, you promised me. You're in trouble. All right, I get to make fun of Mike. Actually, I told him I was going to make fun of him. So Mike Ray is a really good agent. He knows he needs better systems, right? So now I am super excited because the guy, yes, love BombBomb. I saw that from somebody. So I get to refer somebody back to Mike Ray, right? Who's my buddy. I've been working with him for 15 plus years, right? Super, super long time. Now, this is what's interesting. Oops, hang on. This lead, Cheeto Patricio. So Mike's not here. I told him I was going to make fun of him even with him here. I call Cheeto once a month as a top client. Cheeto has referred me 2 other leads that I couldn't close, right? I called Cheeto on his birthday. I know that his daughter is coming from the Philippines and they've been separated for a long time. I know he's going to get a job raise. I know that he works in nonprofit for the veterans. I know that he likes chess. I know a whole bunch of things about him. And every time I talk with Cheeto, we always bring up Mike. And because Mike's the agent, I edify him. But if Mike were here, I'd say, Mike, have you ever called Cheeto once? Did you call him on his birthday? Do you know any of this information about him, right? He doesn't. It doesn't matter because I got his back, but he doesn't have these conversations. And what he doesn't know is that Cheeto and I are meeting because Cheeto is one of those guys that will take a lead and say, let's go meet the lead together so I can introduce you. Oh my God, this is the type of person, like, he's amazing. So he's meeting me and he's introducing me to his buddy Raul. And he also said to me, I have a pay raise because my daughter's coming from the Philippines. I want to see if I could buy another house too. Mike, you better love me. Next lunch is on you, right? And so where did this all start? Well, it all started from me calling Michael for the 8th time since it closed, right? And I was about to give up the original lead. And I called him, he picked up and I asked hard for a referral and it made a big difference, right? And you do it every single time, it makes a big difference. We could all do better. Okay, I have 3 minutes left to be done with in 45 minutes. So first of all, if anyone has any good comments, bad comments, it sucks, whatever, I'm going to go through these next things kind of quickly. We can go back if people can stay longer because I said it would be 45 minutes. Okay, happy hours for Realtors VIPs. Happy hour each month. If you don't do this, this is a killer strategy for agents. Lenders can do it too, and this is the strategy. I think we'll use Melissa. You send out a video to your VIPs. Some people do it. VIPs are non-clients. You can mix clients and VIPs, but this is what it sounds like. Hey, this is Melissa Parker over at Berkshire Hathaway. I'm going to be having a monthly happy hour over at ABC Main Street, yada, yada, yada. It's totally involuntary. As a real estate agent, one of my main jobs is to be a connector of other people, right? And so please come. We're all like-minded. We want to grow our business. I'm going to have, I'll get a few appetizer plates promptly at 5 o'clock. Come along. And by the way, what we're going to be chatting about for a few minutes, we're going to be talking about verbos, or we're going to be talking about the market, or we're going to be talking about hedge funds. Okay, can't wait to see you, right? And then if they come to it, you call them up. Thank you for coming. What is your biggest takeaway? Why would you ask that question? Well, my biggest takeaway is I got concerns about the market. Really? Let me ask you a question. If the market were to shift and you had all that equity, how would that change your life? That's actually not the script. It's a really good line, which I want to give everybody. If the market were to shift, how would that affect your life? Because listen, I went through the short sale phase and I was really good at short sales back then. I don't want to be dealing with a short sale for you as my client. So if the market were to shift, what would that mean for you? It gets them thinking. Maybe they should buy a house. Maybe they should list a house. Ask those questions that trigger events, right? And then if they don't come, you say, hey, listen, we missed you. It was amazing. We had 35 people there from all different walks of life. People were making connections. Next time you got to come. I want to make sure we don't let your food get cold, right? FOMO. Phil Puma showed you a picture outside of Charlotte, California, Charlotte, North Carolina, owns the market. His lender, who went to Phil's happy hour, and he has 75 to 100 people that he mixes vendors, VIPs, and clients. He becomes a connector. Do you think anybody there is going to refer anybody else other than Phil? If you show up, everyone knows 6 agents. If you show up at a happy hour and you're one of his clients, vendors, VIPs, invitees, or whatever, and he's hosting it, do you think any other real estate agent's going to get any of the leads from those 75 people? Probably not, right? Yeah, you're going to spend a whole chunk of money, but it's better than spending money on stuff like mailings and Zillow. I mean, I know Zillow works in some cases, right? But this gives you an idea. Maybe he spends $500 or $600, gets 75 people, right? He kills it. So happy hours for realtors. Client parties. And I can go into more on this later because I got like 2 minutes. But what this guy does is he says, hey guys, there's going to be raffles at it. For every referral you bring me, you'll get 10 raffles. I need you to bring me one person that owns a home and one that rents, right? Your market is anybody that rents and anybody that owns a home. And he does it, and he gives away really good raffle prizes. So I want to make sure you don't give away a raffle prize that's like a $50 thing. You do a TV, you spend some money, and he says that they get 40 to 50 leads. Now, what you got to realize is these are bigger agents. So I want to make sure this is a channel account. This is somebody that's doing a lot of leads. If you're doing less business, you're going to have fewer contacts. But if you get 4 or 5 good leads from one of these and you close one deal, makes a big difference. So this is this idea of leveraged events. So last thing I have for you, I think I'm over time by like a couple minutes. So Patrick Conway, the guy that closed 81 referrals from 8 people, he has a breakfast meeting every month for his VIPs, business owners, HR people, whatever it is. And at those meetings, he either does a mastermind meeting, they do a specific topic, or he coaches them in their business. Because look, what makes us successful with follow-up and systems is the same in a lot of businesses. So the reason why he got 81 deals from 8 people is because he brings massive value. He takes it to an entirely different level, right? And so is it worth spending whatever, a couple $100 once a month for that breakfast? Yes. And those people advocate for him like crazy. So here is my last thing, and I'm going to send this to everybody. When you want it, this is a great way to jog people for referrals, and you can send this to them. You put their name in the middle, right? You've got your boss, associations, your closest friends, members and organizations, relatives, neighbors, right? It's graphic, right? So you sit down with somebody, hey, who I can pick on? JC. I think JC's still there, right? So you say, JC, hey man, you're still working over at the ABC company. Yeah, you're pretty close with your boss, Jerry, right? Yeah, he seems like a pretty cool guy. Let me ask you a question. Do you think, let me get this correct so I have this. Do you think he would like to learn more about the market and how it would affect his business and his company if it were to shift? That's the new question all the core agents ask. What would happen if the market were to shift? Because it is shifting. They're not, this isn't about fear mongering, right? But it makes them think we're probably going into a recession, this, that, or whatever, right? So it creates more opportunities, right? Oh, you know, somebody that works over at the Harley Club, right? I happen to have a Harley too. Could we, get connected, right? What do you think is going to happen to the price of gas with what's going on? Are you guys going to be able to ride your Harleys as much? Think of questions that take it to the next level. So this form, to me, I just got it. I'm going to use it all the time, right? Because instead of saying, who do you know that just had this, that, or whatever, it says it, life event, business owners, sums it all up. All right. So I'm over time, and I'm going to go back if anybody wants to ask more questions on this. But I want everybody, I'm going to send this. What's one thing you learned and will do? The class today, was it a good investment at the time? Yes, not so much. If it's not so much, you need to, tell me. This information will help me make more or less. If you put not much, you're just wrong, right? I'm sorry. This is what these guys that all make a ton of money do, right? And then let me know what's one subject I'd love to have class on: time management, task prioritization, conversion, scripting, the perfect work week, deep dive into leveraged events, deep dive into video, whatever it is. And then here, this helps me out, an agent I should get to know. So I've been tasked with meeting 100 new real estate agents in 10 weeks, or I get fined $1,000. I'm a little stressed out about it. So I'm going to go to a lot of open houses, but I would really love, like Daryl invited somebody to this event, right? Who's an agent that I could chat with and invite to the next one? And if there's a client I can exist you with, great, and put your name here. So everybody that came here on this, I'm going to send this out to you and go from there. And then some strategies, right? So this is the line. If the market takes a turn, do you want me to call you? I'm still your agent, yes? I want to be your friends, real estate agents too. Who do you know, right? But the verbiage that they use, and I had it somewhere, is that if the market were, you have a lot of equity in your house right now, a ton of equity. If the market were to shift, if you were to lose your job, something were to change, what would you do? And some people are like, I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. Maybe I should upsize. Maybe I should downsize. Ask those questions that create triggers. All right. So I'm going to stop the share here for a minute. I'm over time. I'm sorry. I was probably a little optimistic on what I could get done in 45 minutes. All right. But does anybody have any comments? Is there anything here where someone's like, dude, that was awesome? Please, somebody say something. Or just have awkward silence. I'm okay with
Hey,
it.
Juan,
Yeah.
there's thousands of leads in my database that have come in over the last, several years, from all different walks of life that I really don't, everything's on automation, but you talked about going a little bit deeper on, trying to dig some of that gold out of there. Do these guys give you any ammunition on trying to revive like old stuff? Like,
so what they would tell you is the ideal is they have a 400 or 500 contact database. I think you and I had chat about this before, is if you got those leads, what I would do is I would do exactly what I've done here. We talked about this before. You get all those leads in and you create a value proposition. Hey, it's Daryl Hannah here. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the news. You're on the internet, blah, blah, blah. Is there a recession? Rates, prices are too much, inventory, this or that. I'm going to be having a webinar on it to talk about this and reach out. A lot of you are in my database, right? We fell out of contact, right? This is what I do for my clients, and I want to check what was going on. So here's the Zoom link below. Please register. Let me know if you're interested in coming, because it's going to be some really valuable information. That's what I would do, because you got thousands of leads. You can't call them, right? That's just a waste of your time. That's one where you need to have a high leverage, low cost, hit or miss, right? And so in that situation, you get it sent out and let's say 50 people sign up, right? But 4 show up. The 50 that signed up, you now have a 50-person hit list, right?
Yeah.
And you keep sending it. I would, if I were you, I would do it like I would do something of value. I would do it. Hey, it's Daryl Hannah here. It's tax day coming along with all my clients. I go to the CPA. This is another good tactic. I go to the CPA and I introduce myself to the CPA to provide them with the closing statement so they make sure they get all the tax benefits possible. I'm going to have a CPA presenting, or I'm going to have a trust attorney presenting, or you're just going to talk about it. I do this for my clients and for my database. I want to reach out to everybody that's in my system, blah, blah, blah. And some people will say, take me off your list, right? And you keep doing it and you start to build a list of people that are there. And if 50 show up, and I did this, I think I told you this. Remember I said we should do a market forecast together, right?
Yeah.
And we never, I did it, and on December 23rd, I did it to my database test, right? And I sent it out to every lead I had, and I got 20 people signed up and 4 showed up. It's the 23rd, it's 6 o'clock, the 23rd of December, everyone is at home, blah, blah, blah. I closed a deal out of it.
Nice.
It was a refi.
That's
I
awesome.
got connected and chatted with the guy I got it right at the right time, right? So to me, that's what I love about BombBomb and all these items is it didn't matter, right? I did another one that's a YouTube video, like I haven't even posted on Facebook. I tried to post on Facebook the other day and I couldn't figure, like somebody's gonna have to teach me. But the point is that, you know, that I think would be a good idea because a lot of those people are out there. You could do another one, say, hey, look, you know, I do my best to reach out to all my clients. I've got all these people that came in through different systems and I fell out of touch. I am so sorry. I'm trying to reconnect. You might have bought a house. Fantastic. You might be renting. You might be confused. Maybe you didn't get your offer accepted for whatever reason. I'm going to be having a reconnect presentation, blah, blah, blah. Same thing. I would just do that once a month. I have 17 things I could just pre-prepare and send over to you, but you don't need that help, right? I would do this. I mean, I would do this one if I were everybody. This is one I would get going on. Let me make sure. I'm going to share the screen again. Does everybody know? I want to make sure. Does anybody know what happens to house prices during recessions? Anybody have an idea what happens?
They typically go up, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. Do you think all the people in your database believe that's the case?
No, they don't.
Correct. So why aren't you reaching out to everybody on the planet talking? I'm going to share the screen again. I think I did this right. Do you guys see a YouTube video?
Yep.
So I sent this out and I also did a presentation on PowerPoint that I think is uploaded on YouTube somewhere or whatever, right? So I can send this to you. This shows you blah, blah, blah. I hate hearing myself. Here it shows recession rates went down, recession rates went down, recession down, 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 right? I would send this out, right? And so when I chat with my clients, most people think, I got 8 people asking me questions. This was very good. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Juan, everybody. Thank you for the time. Good. Last but not least, FOMO, fear of missing out. Sorry FOMO is the fear of missing out, right? So when someone doesn't show up at your presentation, so with an example of FOMO, which I didn't get to do this as much as I'd like because I blew up my database system with those 20,000 contacts is, hey, today's my presentation. If you don't come to my presentation and the other agents have this information, you're going to lose to them because they're going to be better prepared to weather the storm that's coming. So you better sign up. Fear of missing out, right? Doesn't always work with agents. Infrequently, I could get some advice on ways, right? But this shows you what's going on with rates, right? This also shows what's going on. Here's the recessions. Prices went down a little bit, went up, went up, went up, went up, went up, went up. Bubbles cause recessions, but recessions don't cause bubbles, right? And I did another one, if I can find it really, really quickly. The other one, because remember, you want to be their source, right? I have tons of people, like I'll talk to my clients, they're like, hey man, really good video. I'm like, really? Okay, great. So can everybody see this new screen? Can you guys see that? Daryl?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, if you go down, so look, you want to look like you really know what you're talking about? Hey, this talks about inversions lead to recessions, right? What is an inversion? Who cares? You just look smart. Unemployment. Did you know recessions occur when unemployment's at its lowest? Unemployment. So when unemployment goes up, really good way to scare the crap out of people as an agent, right? Hey, how you doing? You know, maybe you need to sell your house because you're on the chopping block, right? But this is what's really, really interesting. This is what I would be chatting with people about. I'd say, look, everyone keeps talking about low inventory and all this stuff. Let me tell you what really, really happened, right? Because as a local realtor in the business, you know, I am an expert. I've been doing this for X number of years. So let's look at what happened. Here's our average inventory. Here's right before the bubble. We had 3.7 million homes on the market. The bubble hit. Guess what happened? The home builders stopped building, right? they circled the wagons and they overcompensated. And so we started to dig a hole. Forget about the pandemic. We started to have a lack of inventory. Then here's the pandemic and all that stuff that happened, right? Which is true, whether it was supply chain, because you can't just say, build a house. You got to get permits and land and all this different stuff. So this is what happened. So we're now at 870,000 in the entire country from down 3.7 million before, but it's worse than that because we have 14 million more households now than when that happened. 13 more households, 3 million fewer homes, right? This is the true story of what's going on, right? What are the odds that the houses are going to drop in Vegas? Well, you need to look at the source of the information. There's a company called CoreLogic and they sell information. They don't care if prices go up or down, but they sell information. And so the quality of their information is what keeps them in business. So let's assume, since they're one of the biggest providers, that they're doing a pretty good job. Here are the odds of a price decline. Very low. Here's us, right? Could they be wrong? They could be wrong, but the quality of this information is important. So why is it that we have a very low odds of house prices dropping down? It's because we have low inventory, we have a growing market, all of these other items. We have one of the fastest growing markets in Vegas, right? So putting stuff out like this, it elevates you and it shows that they care, because they don't care how much someone loves you. They can always love you more and they can always think more highly of you. You can't ever do that. You can always go the next step, right? And it's pretty easy to do and it feels good, right? So people would say, oh, you're just pretending to care about people. Well, you can pretend to care about people, but it doesn't work that way. If you pretend about, okay, so how's your job? How's your boss, right? As opposed to, listen, how did you get into that job, right? And if you ask the right questions, unless you're like a sociopath, you will actually start to get into that mode of, yeah, this is really, really interesting, right? That's where all the good stuff happens. So, Daryl, this is your presentation right here. Just pull off Click Mortgage and put Daryl Hannah, right? Put it out there and say, hey guys, there's all of you out there banging around, blah, blah, blah. We talked about this before and I know you got a crazy schedule. Get Bomb up and loaded, get your list, send it out, and you're good to go, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about it more.
Yeah, that would be something that's interesting. And the biggest thing is I thought about doing, I got somebody on. I'm going to mute you there just because I'm getting some feedback from somebody. Okay, that's time. So we're good. So I am way, way over, but I think the key, and by the way, the presentation was much prettier. I totally overwrote and deleted my presentation. I was scrambling at like 10 o'clock last night to remember what the heck my presentation was going to be like, right? So hopefully it was impactful, but this is what these guys do, right? These amazing realtors and they are the nicest people, right? Except for Patrick Conway. Don't tell him I said that, please. Daryl, do not call him, right? But Patrick is a little bit of an ass, right? And the funny thing about it is it goes along everything that all the agents talk about and all the lenders, because you should be grateful. And every talk starts like this. I'm broken just like you. Of course, when you're broken with an $8.9 million net worth and making $1.8 million a year, it's a lot more fun to be broken than, if you don't have that, right?
For sure.
So it's nifty stuff. So I got a couple of questions from a couple of you. I really hope people got something out of this, because I have not always been the best implementer, because I have a terrible fear of failure. And so most lenders tend to be drivers. Most agents tend to be influencers, right? And so some of the lenders I know, they don't give a rat's patootie what people say, whereas agents tend to be a little bit less happy about rejection, right? But I got something today from the core and one of the top guys saying, how failure is part of the process. And although we always say that all the time, it still hurts. And it said there at the bottom, and you saw I put at the bottom of my emails, obstacles don't block the path. They are the path, right? I've had a lot of things that are not going my way, but we just got to kind of push through it. So anybody who wants the presentation deck, I'm going to send Patrick Conway's audio training on how to go after VIPs, right? And stuff like that. But take some of these tactics and do something with it, right? And, Daryl, to your point, what we were chatting about is, when I look at some of the lenders that make 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 times as much as I do in the same amount of time, there's got to be some paradigm shift. For me, I'm getting out of email. I'm going to start delegating my email, and there's a process to do that, right? And so, you already have a big team, you've got a lot of staff. So what is your challenge, right? So I did that video for you. I want to think about that a little harder, right? Because, getting to that next level, whatever level people are at, 2 deals a month to 5, 5 to 10, right? How does Dayton Schrader do 50 deals every single month? Well, he did it little by little. He does not work. Dayton's like, the first time I saw him, I'm like, that's Dayton Schrader? That's Dayton Schrader? Really? Come on. So, but it's because he just has his systems dialed in. If I were everyone here, I would do the All About You form, and I would be much more intentional about asking for real estate, and I would start putting out some information. I would go back to your entire database, whether it's a video or an email, and you could do a poll on Facebook. If someone could show me how to post on Facebook, that would be great. But you could do a poll that says, hey, how many people think that housing prices go up, down, or stay the same in a recession? Can you go over the market shift question again? Sorry, guys. Let me see if I can find the exact verbiage.
I think you said if the market were to shift, how would that change your life?
Yeah, there's another, I have a couple of different, I had it all put together and then I deleted the wrong slide. It was terrible. I totally blew up my presentation. I'll make sure. That's pretty much it, what would happen if the market were to shift? How would that change life?
I wrote it down when you were saying it, Juan. That's what you said. Yeah, if the market were to shift, how would that change your life?
I think that, or the other one is, you have a lot of equity in your house right now, and that's fantastic. What would happen if the market were to shift, right?
Juan, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
So it's funny because you keep asking us if we think you brought something of value, and you've gone over the time by what, like how many minutes?
20. I'm way over.
Okay, and if you notice that we started with 19 people and you still have 18 people 20 minutes over, I think that answers your question, that we all think you brought something of value.
Linda,
awesome.
you made my day. I had to get my coaching homework in last night. I got in at 10:20. It didn't get over. And my coach is mad at me. The system went down, this, that. I have a problem with loans. So I'm really glad you said that, because I put a little extra effort into this, simply because this is what I took out of the last conference, the last summit. And I am working really, really hard in changing my business, because I don't want to be, who wants to be that, an agent or a lender that isn't enjoying what they're doing, that's not growing, right? So thank you very much. Linda works for Lawyer's Title. She's super helpful. And everybody has their favorite person, but as a account executive, she does a lot of really, really good things for me, right? And so,
Well, apparently we know a lot of people, because I'm recognizing a lot of folks that I talk with and work with already. So hi, everyone.
Yeah, well, this is a nice group, because I don't know a bunch. I got introduced to Hugo Carrillo, which I'm glad he's there. Linda, I know. Hans, I've known for a bazillion years. Linda Murphy, who was here for a while, I think she left, is a really good friend of mine and awesome. I guess Melissa.
Yeah, Linda and I work together.
Melissa Parker works for you, Daryl?
Yeah, Melissa Parker, Jared, and Crystal.
Oh, okay, cool. We got a bunch that came in. So these are the issues. So you can ask Daryl and Mike Ray, who's supposed to be here. I do this all the time. Like, this isn't just to land you as an account. I need to land more of you on as an account to stay in business. I won't lie, right?
So I haven't given Juan one deal, and this guy, I almost feel guilty, because the guy has been on me for years. I mean, I'm not talking about months, it's been a couple years. The guy has given me a lot of value. I think I've given him a lot of value. It may not come in deals, but I've definitely given him some value in other ways. But Juan's the real deal. There's no doubt about that.
No, totally. And we've talked about this. Like, I understand your situation but that's why I wanted to implement this. We need to create another pillar that is you and me. You've got a great lender who kills it, right?
Yeah.
He's probably not as soft and fuzzy with the WOW process, right? On that piece. And so, I think that's a place where you might be missing out. And so we need to try to get something together that works on that. But Daryl has introduced me to other agents. He has introduced me to, it's been great. So I don't feel used or anything. Like Daryl's always like, hey man, I'm not going to cheat on my other guy. This is what we need to do. So it's a different story than if I'm getting dragged, I'm being, my chain, what's that? You're yanking my chain. I don't feel that way at all. And I learn stuff from Daryl all the time too, on how he runs his business. Cause Daryl was in construction. He's done a bunch of things. So we can all learn more about each other. Daryl's still got runway. He does some crazy amount of business, right? But he still has runway, right?
Yeah.
I just want to make a comment here. I just met Juan over the phone yesterday, and I'm already hooked, Juan. So thank you so much. Just being new in the business, I now realize that we can't do this alone, and I want to thank you for taking that leadership on looking out for many, including new agents, and sharing your knowledge. And I'm really looking forward to working with you. As a matter of fact, I have one referral for you today. So after I finish this call, I'm going to send you
Well,
the info, and we'll work together.
we're going to connect because you and I have a lot in common. I'm going to show you from the beginning how this all starts, so you really get a good idea. Ugo works for Berkshire Hathaway, and he's so Delinda, she's very busy. She's a big agent at Berkshire Hathaway. You can't just go knock on her door, but Berkshire Hathaway's got some amazing agents. Ugo did he's 1 year in the business, but you did how many deals?
Number 5, yes. I've been lucky to have good people around me, and I want to bring you into my network because you're so valuable, and especially in the market that I'm right now heading to. So I appreciate your knowledge and time.
No, it would be great. So if there's any last items, so please, I'm going to send out to everybody. I really appreciate that. I was really excited about our phone call because you're so genuine in what you were saying and wanting, I could get it. Ugo's done well. He worked for the court systems. He's not hurting for money. He's not. And so he's taking a little bit harder path to help those that are being underrepresented. We need to make sure you also don't forget the slam dunk deals as well, Ugo, right? But he really wants to help the Latino community. So I'm going to send it all out to you, but please, if anybody that fills out a tactic and sends it back to me that they're willing to do, I will send you a $5 gift Starbucks card. Okay. And the best thing to do is everybody here, send me an email to remind me, Juan, Juan, I got yours, Delinda, Juan at clickmortgage.com, right? So make sure everybody, just because there's people that came and went and want it, but I will send it out to you. If somebody does it and commits to doing something, that would be great. And then Delinda, I think I'm actually swinging by to see you tomorrow at 12. We'll do a quick recap. So pick a couple of items, right?
Yep, got it.
That's true. So anyway, so I got a couple other guys. Anybody else? Renita, just so you know, we got the last item. She's a listing agent on a deal that we're closing. And we have a situation where the buyer, his son died, he's a veteran, and we're waiting on an item for a while from Prudential that we couldn't get because we got it today, so we're all good. And thank you for not, close of escrow is Tuesday, which is my birthday. Thank you for not being like, where is it? It's been really horrible because we got to go back to this guy who lost his son. We had to get Prudential on the phone with him. And he's like, it's like one of the worst situations I've ever seen. We're like, we need you to resend us the death benefit letter so we can source the funds. And he had to be on the phone. I totally just wanted to cut my wrist after that phone call. Awful. So thank you. So that's it. And Linda, thank you so much. Anybody has any last, because I'll hang around, any questions, because I can talk. I have a ton of things to do. I would say to anybody, there's some really good closing techniques, that you can that I can share with you, right? So when someone is starting to grind you on a commission or whatever, and I see if I can remember the words on this, so you're gonna say, look, I've been in this business a long time. I do a really, really good job. You've seen everything that I can do. I am going to give you an amazing experience. My team are going to take care of you. We're going to get top dollar, right? You can go down the street and go deal with some other agent and cross your fingers. Got to do that, by the way, and close it. Or you can sign on the dotted line with me and take care of it, knowing I'm going to do a really, really good job for you, right? So There's a couple really, really good ones. Every agent I ever talked to says, I close 80% of my listings. Well, then you need to get on more listing presentations, right? Does anybody here want to know more about solar? I'm going to give you an example. I got an agent who does about 2 deals a year. She landed the listing. There were 6 people presenting, 3 before her, and then 2 after. She signed on the dotted line. Does anybody here know solar? No? So this is what I told her to do. I told her it was a phone call because the guy didn't want to call. And this is what she said. She said, hey, listen, these are all the things that I can do. She works for Realty One Group. These are all the things that I can do. We all have the MLS. I can do a few more things. Let me ask you a question. Did any of the other guys chat with you, talk to you about solar? And they said, no. She said, well, let me tell you why. There's 3 types of agents in town when it comes to solar. There's those that don't know anything about it. They're totally confused about it. That's a majority. There's another percentage that think it's a waste, that it makes no sense at all, right? And then there's a small percentage that actually understand solar. By the way, I made the script up for her. She has no idea about solar, right? So I said, this is the situation. You own a house. You want to get the highest price value. You own it outright, right? There's 3 types of solar. There's power purchase agreement, there's lease, and there's owned, right? Because you own it, I will be able to push it harder and negotiate. Number 1, I'll show you all the techniques to make sure that the appraiser on their side is certified to do solar. And number 2, if the agent on the other side of the transaction isn't somebody that knows the value of the solar, I will advocate for them and I will educate them as well, because between you and me, they're going to want that value to come in as well. So I can list your house price a little bit higher because of that. And I'm going to call up the listing, the buyer's agent, and I'm going to go to pvvalue.com. It's a website that's by the Appraisal Institute. I'm going to send over the actual valuation on the solar. I'm going to present all this information. I'm going to go back into your Nevada Energy for the last 12 months, and I'm going to show how much you didn't pay so that we can quantify your savings over time. So when that agent calls me up and says, why are you listing the house for $500? It's only worth $480. You can say, well, number 1, it's got solar, its own solar. Here's all the information. So when you're talking to your buyer, make sure they know that. Anyway, gets off the phone, calls me up, right? Person signed on the dotted line, right? And I also told him, ask them, say, ask them, does the agent themselves have solar? Blow that up, right? So I can't remember the last time I met an agent that could tell me the difference between power purchase agreement, leased, and owned, right? So, and by the way, if someone has a power purchase agreement and a green appraiser goes out to see it, they'll drop the value of the price by 4%. It's actually going to hurt the value of the house. So anybody wants to land more solar listings or I think somebody here should be Delinda's probably going to run with this. You're all screwed already. I can tell you right now, if she likes the idea, is to be the solar listing expert of Las Vegas. I don't know why no one's going after that market. Here's another great idea for you guys. Oh, I missed a slide. Solar, go to the solar guys. They go door to door and you ask this question. You say, hey, if you're not going to be here 3 to 5 years, you don't want to get solar because it doesn't pay for itself. You're not call up the agent. This person is selling the house in 2 months. There's an agent in the core that has all these solar people working for. I think she spiffs them. I don't know if that's allowed. A lender can't do it. But basically, whenever they're talking to someone, they're saying, yeah, you're only going to be here for 2 years. What are you planning on doing in 2 years? You're going to sell the house? You're going to put it on the market? Great. Hey, Delinda, it's your solar salesperson, right? They're listing they're going to be listing the house in a year. Make the phone call, right? I forgot that slide. So I got lots of stuff, right? I guess you didn't take that idea. I thought you were going to be the solar expert, Delinda. I thought you were going to run. Maybe Ugo can think about it.
I'm already pretty good with solar. No, my mind, I was just sitting here thinking. Yeah, and I do have kind of a solar partner, but I'm thinking how I can do it even better.
Right, and you train them. So as they're knocking on the door, you go, look, ask them that question, right? If it doesn't,
Actually,
Well,
I'm doing an open house this weekend on Saturday with the solar panels, but as the Tesla system. So I need to get a little bit more familiar with that within the next couple of days.
Yeah, so what you can do is